What did you just say?
I said your dream stinks.
He said it again. Come here.
What's up, Lorcana community? This is Tavern Talk, and today we have a special guest with us, Hector Lopez from CCS 12K. He made a top 16. We have our usuals, Jordan, Jimmy, Robbie, Taylor. We're all here to talk about our experience and our time at the CCS event. We had a blast, I want to start off saying, and we really, really appreciate CCS for hosting events like this because during these dead times, there's not much for Lorcana players to do. We're all sitting around waiting for DLCs. We're waiting for, bigger cash tournaments and more sets to come. So I'm going to allow Hector to share his experience and how well he did at the CCS and explain a little bit what, his side of the story. So take it away, Hector. It's all on you, man.
All right. Yeah. What's up, everybody? My name's Hector Lopez. You probably saw me on stream this weekend. I played Steel Song for the event. I kind of exclusively play that deck, and I went 7-2 with the deck, and I got 15th place after Swiss.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah. But yeah, overall, I mean, the event went pretty well. Didn't really have any hiccups until round 7. Played like 8 blue decks and 1 green purple deck at the event. My only losses were to green purple and red blue. Actually, Hector, the eventual winner, he knocked me out on day 2. But yeah, I'm pretty sure the real reason people are watching this is they want to hear a little bit about what happened during my feature match versus Zan. Nothing special like before or anything. We introduced ourselves to each other, sat down, played. Game was kind of going a little awkward for me. I wasn't neither one of us were in a winning position.
Right.
I was literally at 0 lore, which is terrible when you're at turn 12. I finally get a chance to launch a whole new world. I make a mistake. My initial count, I thought I counted 7, and later find out it was actually 8. So obviously during the whole match, at the end of my turn, Zan was asking me how many cards I had left in my hand. I didn't really think anything of it. I said, 3, 4, whatever it may be. I know he just wanted to be diligent, make sure there wasn't anything being missed. So of course, at the end of my turn, after I'd used the whole new world, he asked me how many I had left, and I said 5, which was an issue because I played a Daisy Duck, a Cinderella, and a Bare Necessities. So obviously 5 plus 3 equals 8.
Yeah.
As soon as I saw I had 5, I said, "Oh, that's not right," and he called the judge. The first judge came over. We explained what happened. Came back maybe in 2 minutes and said it's just a card count error. We're just gonna have to put the cards back in his hand, shuffle it up, and then put a random one back. He wanted to appeal it. And so the judge went to go get the head judge, and when the judge went away, I was like, "Look, I'm sorry. This is totally a mistake. My apologies. I coming from a background of mainly playing Yu-Gi-Oh, and in Yu-Gi-Oh, this is a game loss, 9 out of 10 times, because it's really hard to reverse something like that. So I assumed I was going to get a game loss. Head judge came over. Zan pulled him to the side. I have no idea what they spoke about, unfortunately. And after maybe 20, 25 minutes, judge comes over, make sure he reconfirms the whole situation, and rules it as card counter, put all the cards back in my hand, shuffle it up, put one back, and then continue play. Zan's really only big gripe was the fact that I played Bare Necessities, because at that point I had knowledge of what was in his hand. So he wanted to. He didn't think it was reversible at that point due to the fact that I used bare necessities,
Right.
which I could completely understand. The judge said it's just something that can happen when a mistake like this occurs, and we just have to move forward with it, which he was upset with. But luckily, the bare necessities did not go back. The Cinderella I played did. So I just played bare necessities, played my 2/1 drops that I had left in my hand, and passed. Game went back and forth after that, and I ended up decking him out.
Yeah.
And then game two, I think he drew pretty badly. He didn't see a high room, so kind of just ran away with it. And yeah, that was about it. Obviously, if you're on social media, you've probably seen that he made a post about it. Um, it was an honest mistake on my part. I actually got to speak with him on Sunday. I didn't want to speak with him on Saturday because I could see he was really upset. Um, we spoke. This was after he tweeted. So, but we spoke. I said my piece. I apologize. And I mean, we came to an understanding. He really wants to just make sure that the community in Ravensburger sees this, and he doesn't want other cheaters to feel like they can get away with something like that, which I completely understand. Um, I just don't. I got a lot of hate. A lot of people labeled me as a cheater, which I understand, but it was an honest mistake, but can't really do anything now to change it. So it is what it is.
Yeah. So, my question is the bare necessities play. Why would it matter if you saw his hand, if you got to see his hand the following turn? Was the final card you drew, the eighth card you drew, the Cindy, or was it a random card put back in?
I was told from the video footage that people look back, it was the Cinderella, so it kind of all worked out.
Right, right.
The card that did get put back was the one drop Cinderella, uh, which sucks for me because I did have the big shift Cinderella in my hand, but it is what it is. But really, he was upset because I knew what cards were in his hand, and he felt like I could play around the cards in his hand, which I really couldn't at that point. I had four ink open, so it's not like I'm not gonna splurt out cards on the board and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know that Zan pulled the judge aside by himself a couple times. How long did you have to talk to the judge by yourself?
But I didn't get to speak to him by myself. I mean, he might have came over so where the feature match was. There was like a pole right behind where Zan was sitting, and that's where he took the judge. Um, the judge might have came over once, just to like reconfirm like the sequence of like events.
Yeah, so there
Um,
was some reconfirming between both of you by yourselves.
yeah, but that was really it.
Okay.
He just asked me like, you played a whole new world, you drew, you played bare necessities, you took this card out, you played these cards, and I was like, yeah. Then he went away. I just kind of sat and wait. Uh, I didn't think I needed to pull the judge aside by myself.
Right. Do you think that when he pulled the judge aside by himself, that it was more of, I don't know, was it necessary, do you think? Like, do you think it was necessary for him to do that?
He did reference the incident that happened in Las Vegas, which I think he did that out of like experience with being, having someone actually try to cheat using a whole new world. So I kind of understood where he was coming from. He had that happened to him once before. But obviously, like I said, I don't know what he told the judge.
Right. I hear you. Okay.
Just to
Taylor
be
and Robbie, y'all got
clear,
any questions? Or Jordan, you got any questions for Hector?
you said you would be okay if you would have got the game lost, but the
Yeah, I
ruling
mean,
was that you don't.
I'm not gonna, argue with the judge. I mean, I did make a mistake, so like, if a game loss is the ruling, the game loss is the ruling. That was really the first time I found out that, like, in Lorcana, uh, like a mistake like that is reversible in the eyes of the policies. So I was kind of shocked by that, but I just went along with it, honestly.
Was this call based off of the official Lorcana rules that we have now? Is that the what they based the call off of?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, Zan was trying to reference like the cheating portion of uh, the policies and procedures, the rule book. But the judge could not prove that I cheated with intent.
Intent, right?
Yeah,
Let's just
that was like the big thing. Like he had no way to prove it. Uh, and I mean, I just apologize. I don't really know what else I could have done. Um, but it's not like I was also trying to hide it. It wasn't. I mean, luckily we caught it before like turns kept going on and stuff like that, because that would have probably just been way worse if like the community saw it on stream, brought it to the attention of uh like the casters, and then
and then it
like
just snowball past that point.
yeah, because at that point I know it's like definitely irreversible, and then the judges probably do have to have to make a tough decision at that point.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I feel for you. It's a horrible situation to be in, right? I mean, I was watching the stream when it happened. I wasn't there. And the first thought I had was, oh no, because it was just taking too long. But
Yeah.
we couldn't hear it. I mean, that's the other thing. Everyone on stream, we couldn't hear what was going on. So, look, I went on social media. I said a lot of people defending you and understanding the situation. I also thought that it should have been. I think no matter what, it should have been a game loss just from just my previous knowledge. But knowing the rules, yeah, sure, great. If that's what Lorcana is going to do, I think it reinforces a lot of need for consistency amongst the rules, because we've certainly been in situations where that wasn't the case. But you've done everything right. I mean, Monday you were on a Spaces regarding it, talking about it out of the blue. Sorry, I just threw it in the Discord. Okay, let's see what happens here. And look, people came to your defense. I think there's been more positive that's come out of it on your side than negative by a lot. Um, it's kind of what we've been talking about the last few weeks on here, which is, man, we really need these programs. We really need someone to do something to help with this a little bit. Like we just need it, and we're finding out that it's that not everyone knows the rules. And had it been a weaker judge, I think it could have gone as far as bending to Zan's will and being a disqualification. It's one of those things I think just happens, but luckily the judge kind of, did the right thing and stuck to the rules. You didn't receive any warnings before that. There was no incident ever before. So I think that was truly what the rules were supposed to do, and I'm glad that was the outcome of it all. It's unfortunate that Zan immediately, not immediately, the next day, came out and said, if this isn't cheating, I don't know what is. Like, this shouldn't have been this way, calling you a cheater and things of that nature. When it's just a mistake. Like, it's okay to make a mistake. Judge ruled. We got to move on from it. We got to be better as a community. I mean, that's what we've been saying that for a few weeks now. This is a prime example of it, and I'm really happy to see that a lot of people did take your side on it. And I think that this is like one of the better situations that could have come out of it. Honestly, that people are just more positive about it.
I think
That's
I think this highlights the need for a competitive rule set. Like, we can have like your locals rule set, you can have set champ rule set, you should have a competitive rule set where you have very clear lines on what the calls are. I don't think we have that yet. And I think this might highlight that.
I think this also has a need for a player tracking system, right? Like,
Oh,
Hector
yeah.
should have a demerit or a warning on his thing for sloppy
Yeah.
play.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't know. I thought there was a
Because
way to track it in Melee.
yeah, because I mean, even in this tournament, a DLC, someone who got DQ from the DLC was in this tournament and made top 8, right? So
Yep. Top
Wait,
32.
what?
disqualified on top
Yes.
32. First seed
One
overall.
of the top 8 people got DQ'd from a DLC in Vegas.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
Right. Like, so we need a way to track this, and we need the judge program, obviously. There are things about the situation that you can argue all kinds of different ways. My biggest issue was I understand why Zan thinks, as a top member of the community, right? Some people will listen to and look for, needs to make a big deal about something, but he has to toe a very fine line of berating a judge to make him do his will, right? Because last week I talked about an incident in Magic where I had a pro player take a judge aside. I didn't get to take a judge aside. We had the same air and deck registration. I got a game loss. He got a warning, right?
Okay.
It's the same thing. Like using like. Luckily, this judge held his ground and didn't feel berated or badgered into
Okay.
making the wrong call.
Yeah.
But then even go ahead.
I do want to say this because we keep saying, like Zan like took this judge aside. And I want to make this super clear because I have pictures. Zan took this judge aside with his team. It was not just Zan. There were multiple members from his team around this judge. I'm not like I even said I wasn't gonna say anything. I was gonna read my Ted Lasso quote, and I was gonna let it be, but it just
I didn't know who was behind the poll. Honestly, I really couldn't. I literally could not actually see the judge and Zan, like from where I was seated, and I didn't want to get up and like get in trouble or anything.
Yeah.
So I just kind of sat put. But I mean, I did see like people like
Walking back there.
yeah. I mean, like it was a small area, but like you could definitely like I could see people like walking over there, listening and things like that. But I couldn't hear anything that was being said or anything like that.
Yeah, I do agree with you, Jordan, about the different rule sets, because this should have been a game loss. And strictly because you cast bare necessities. That's the only reason why it should have been a game loss. Because this
Irreversible
game
game.
state changed. Because
Yeah,
this
it's
game
like
is
super irreversible at that point. Yeah.
right. Because this game is synchronous, and like if you just like played your hand out, turned some dude sideways, nothing changed. Like there's no game state change. It's easily reversible. But because of that new information gained, I think you should have got a game loss. But that's just the way the rules are. The judge ruled the correct way. So it is what it is.
The correct
I mean-
way according to the rules that we have set.
Yeah, I mean
currently.
the judge referenced that. He said, due to the boundaries of the policies and procedures I'm given, I'm only able to rule this as he said he's unable to rule as a game loss. And then that's when Zan did try to move it towards, what happened in Vegas. Honestly, that took me aback when he did say that. I was like, oh my God, is this guy actually trying to like get me DQ'd right now?
Well, there was a huge major difference from Vegas too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, that guy had like previous warnings, like,
He also lied about the number of
suspicions.
cards in his hand,
yeah.
which is
You
clearly
don't lie to a
intent.
judge, folks.
You went, oh shit, I messed up
Yeah.
immediately.
Yeah. There's just a huge difference about it all, right? I mean, and that's what I was saying about like the way that you handled it, Hector. I think it was just the best way possible, right? You didn't argue with the judge. You didn't lie about what was going on. You didn't say, no, that didn't happen. It was, there was no point. It was on stream, right? I don't think they looked at the camera at all ever, which
I want to say the head judge did ask the other floor judge to go look back. I guess maybe just to reconfirm my story or like, what we said. But I mean, both me and Zan like did say the exact same thing happened. So I don't know what they went to go look at. But
there was a moment where the stream got paused, and I thought it was just because it was just you sitting there. But that might have been when they were, I guess, like going back to look at it. Then it's very possible that occurred.
When you say pause, like they took it off of.
Yeah, they did. They were just showing
fine.
like it was like a purple screen with like where I don't remember the words were, but it wasn't the game state as it is because when it came back, Cindy wasn't on the board anymore, and my immediate comment was they probably made you just reshuffle and put a card back. But I could never tell how many cards you actually had in your hand still because of the way like the camera was and the lighting and the sleeves. I just couldn't tell. I'm kind of glad this happened because I just think it's reinforces it. Not to you, I understand why you
Yeah,
would.
like
Yeah,
that means one
but
of
like,
us.
it reinforces in like some ways, like what we've been talking about and the need for certain things in Lorcana, and kind of the responsibility a lot of us have that are putting out content and are big in the community, and how things can be misconstrued, and you're going to have these actual followers of people when they say things. I mean, it wasn't unbiased or impartial. And it couldn't have been. Zan felt a certain way about it, and like truthfully, I get how Zan felt about it. I just think his reaction was extreme.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. If you had a history or had done something, sure, yeah, it probably wouldn't have gone your way, right? Or well, it wouldn't have gone that way. But I think like a huge piece of this also is a point you made where you didn't have any lore. You were able to deck them out, and that was just game one. I didn't catch this though, and I realized that this, but were you on the play in game one or on the draw?
I was on the draw for both games.
Both games then. Okay. So
Yeah.
then, just so like we're super clear, if anyone hasn't watched game two, it was pretty dominant. I mean, that ended
Yeah.
fairly rapidly, all things considered. Going from a deck out to a win pretty quickly was it. So I think it's just a bad matchup for the deck that Zan built as well.
Yeah.
It's probably unfavorable to begin with, and he was going to be at a disadvantage no matter what. I also think Zan's smart enough to know that. He's played a lot of games. So having you potentially have fighting for that loss, that game loss, or a DQ, I mean, obviously would have probably propelled him into top 8 in day two. I know there was,
He
it
would
was
have
just
a
ended with the
potential
last
to
round.
be at
He would have to
10-8.
play the next
Yeah,
day.
I mean, he would have just had to win the next 2 rounds. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think he did, right? I think he did win the next 2 rounds, but obviously
Yeah.
it wasn't against higher seeding and stuff.
He
And
was
finished
he ended up at 17th.
17th. So he
Yep.
was 7 and
Tough.
2 on the Swiss rounds, right? So he was. So yeah, I think there's a lot about it. I am glad that people have come to your defense. I wish the people that would, and maybe they have and I just haven't seen it, it's very possible that like DM'd you things, if they had places to, and I wish they would say something publicly about it as well. I think that does way more than just giving you support internally, really. But nevertheless, it was very interesting to see how people reacted to that, and I just hope everyone can be better from it. I really do. I really just, it's unfortunate it happened. I just really wish everyone would be better from it all.
Yeah, I mean, I was partially glad I got to do the spaces thing. That you sent me the link for.
Yeah.
Because I had no idea what the heck that was up until then. Because I mean, at least I got to speak to one of Zan's close friend, and Jeremy, and was it R&B, and there was some other,
Bonzer was
R&B,
there.
Terrace Black was on it. Jeremy was
Braden,
on it.
Braden
Oh, yeah, he was
Braden.
on
MTG.
it.
Yep.
Yeah,
Robbie was
Bonzer
on
on
it.
it.
yeah,
Corporate
we
Joe
had
was
some.
on it.
The peanut gallery definitely showed up.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, Also, just by the way, because the comment was made, and I feel comfortable saying it, I don't think it's suspicious when people come to people's defense talking about the spaces.
Yeah,
I mean, earlier in the spaces, it was compared to a murder. So,
I guess I missed that part because I didn't.
yeah, what you did
It
was
was.
compared to a murder. So, just so once I heard that, I didn't think we were gonna really get far with any level of conversation. That was pretty
Yeah.
extreme.
You know,
But yeah,
my biggest issue with the whole thing, like, besides the personal matters with Hector, is like the implications this has brought on to literally anyone who ever makes a god honest mistake is now just gonna be blasted as a cheater, and I don't think that's fair. Like I don't like this is a like we said this last week, right? We play this game competitively, but Ravensburger has built a game that they consider, even their 2-game format is more geared towards casual players. No one loses. You both win. How many times we've heard that in the last year and a half?
Yeah.
Right? Like that was the whole deal. Like, oh, well, you lost. No, y'all both won. Like it's a casual game with, as much as I hate to say it, casual rules, which allows you to draw an extra card and slide it on back and keep trucking, right? Like and it's just the rules we have, and a lot of us who are competitive players don't agree with them. I mean, even Hector has stated multiple times he doesn't agree with the rule or the ruling. He's like anybody who's played Yu-Gi-Oh or Pokemon all understands that it was a game loss and you move on, but that's not the rules we live in Lorcana, because it is a game mode. Because at the same time, we are playing a make believe game. Like, let's be honest for a second. There's a princess who had to go on a fake mission to save a fake heart from a fake lava monster who ended up being the real heart of Tafiti, with a fake man who could turn into a fake half fish, half shark with a fake fish hook. Like, none of this is real. Like say that first. Like, this isn't like somebody playing Texas Hold'em. Like, it's not the
That
same.
4.5K is real.
Yeah, I mean,
Not long. The money's
I
real.
think the biggest
I
thing
just
is
don't
you're
think
really playing for big prizing now.
I don't think we should brand everyone who makes a mistake a cheetah. And like Jimmy said, this is why we need to play a database along with a judges program. Like, there needs to be a collection of things at one time, and hopefully one of those things is a online client. But we need a collection of
Got one.
things to make the space better. We need a better online client.
Yeah. You can't draw eight cards online.
Pixel board.
We can't say thou who shall not be named.
Thou shalt not be
I'll
named.
say
Tell
it.
me beat every blue steel player I played at CCS. So.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Yeah.
I just don't feel like we should brand everyone who ever makes a mistake just blatantly a cheetah. When, I mean, that's not always the case. What happens if one of them? What happens if one of them make a mistake?
Right.
Should that
They already
individual now? Yeah,
yeah.
you're right. I'll let y'all take that away.
We had a huge uproar in the community about Ray Clem, or Ray, how do you say his name? The French guy.
Reckle.
Ray Clem?
For rule sharking.
Yep.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
Zan did the exact same thing, and that's why he left his Magic community, because he did some angle shooting in a PTQ and got
You guys
called
are
out
making
on
me
it.
wary of all sorts of stuff.
Right? Like,
Yeah,
and
I mean,
he right? Like, Zan deserves a second chance for sure, but just like, it has to be known that, I guess, the better the player that is, the higher percentage they're cheating. I think that is something that's very important for new players and casual players or medium competitive players to know. In TCGs, the better the player that is, the more likely it is they're cheating. It doesn't mean they are cheating. It just means that the percentage that they could be cheating is higher. You need to be a lot more careful around them.
Yep. Definitely.
I'm not calling Zan a cheater right now. I'm just saying he previously had
Angle shooting incident.
an angle shooting incident, which is,
Yeah. I
you
mean,
can
he
get
did
to
that at angle.
the ethics and morality of angle shooting and rule sharking versus actually cheating and all that. I mean, that's a whole huge ass discussion we could have.
Yeah,
For those
we
that
definitely
don't,
we'll
that
talk
don't
about.
know what angle shooting is, it's for lack of a better way of putting it.
the broom goat thing.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Exactly. Just to know, it's just I think the best way to actually like fix a lot of this is to announce your triggers like extremely loudly. Just talk your way through the game and not being quiet about it. But there's so many ways to cheat or manipulate the game. I mean,
Are we jumping into that discussion of?
I mean, I think we are. I mean, it's just a good. You brought up angle shooting. It's a good segue to it. And I, beyond angle shooting or playing with certain cards or I've seen people put like the smallest little like paper clip type thing in a sleeve to give it a little bit more weight, so you know where it is when you're like shuffling and do it. I mean, there's a lot of that, and I think a big thing is that people do need to be like just super aware of that. Like, just know that people you're playing against can and will find a way to manipulate or cheat the game. Not announcing their triggers, going very quickly, shuffling in some ways, shuffling their discard. I mean, we've seen it like in some, if you've watched videos and things, you'll see people like even within Pokemon, they're looking through their discard for something and they cup a card in their hand and they pick up their deck. I mean, I'm sorry, the cup of card in their actual hand, pick up their game hand, and all of a sudden they have that extra card that they needed, right? I mean, we've seen videos and things of that nature, and I don't think it's rampant, but I think people will take advantage of, you're not really paying attention. I'll give an example of it. My daughter plays. I guarantee you someone at that Dallas DLC probably cheated against her in some way because they were like, I'm just going to like mess over this kid. I mean, duh. You know what I mean? Like, now she might have caught you. She might have, but it also, I don't know. But it's the possibility is there, and there's just so many ways to do it that I think it's important for people to pay attention to their opponent when they're playing a game, because the pricing has increased. They're going to these giant cash tournaments. You gotta be aware of that in some aspect of it. Just my thought on it all.
I'll speak a little bit about this, but I think that the players that can focus the most on the gameplay, triggers, and what is going on between you and your opponent all at the same time are some of the best players in this game, 100%. And it is a skill that if you want to be good in this game, it is something that you have to keep track of. How many cards your opponent has in their hand, how many you have in your hand, how much is in their discard, what's their inks at, what are they going to next turn, stuff like that. It's very little things that can make it into a bigger thing that helps players avoid getting cheated on, avoid all this mess, like, dealing with plays like this. So if Zan would have saw, that he drew 8 cards right away, I mean, no one's going to ask cards in hand after a whole new world. Don't get me wrong. That's probably a very dumb question, but for him not to see the 8 in his hand, Hector, I don't know if you had your hand actually fanned out in front of him during your turn, but before the bare necessities happened, did you have your hand out out?
I guess how I can probably just show you how it. So like I picked up the cards like in a stack. So I put them down. I thought I counted 7. If you can see in the video, I like put down like a stack. I counted them, and then I took 2 more cards off the top of my deck because I thought I originally put down 5, but I actually put down 6.
Okay.
Picked up the hand and I did just like this. I didn't like conceal it or anything like that. I mean, did that, looked at my hand, I flipped through it. But that's just like a nervous, or I wouldn't even say a nervous take, but like
It's a
a
TCG thing.
You do it
habit
all
I
the
have.
time, every time we play.
I mean,
I've seen
every
it.
single card player does that.
Yeah.
Like I've said it multiple times.
And I looked at the cards I had to see like what plays my mind was not on counting at that
Counting the
point,
cards,
because
right.
I thought my original count was great, which it wasn't. I was like, okay, what cards do I need to play, and like what are the best cards to play right now for myself? Obviously, I'm going to start with Bare Necessities because then I see what he has,
Right.
so I can see, all right, I need to play X, Y, and Z right now. But after my turn ended, I just put it down like in a stack.
Yeah.
To the left of me. And then he asked me how many do I have left. I said, and then I did like this, and I said, oh, I have 5.
Yeah.
And then obviously that's when everything happened.
Yeah. So
I mean,
being aware
even in the same tournament, right? Lamb drew 8 off a whole new world.
Yeah.
But his
Yeah, I heard
opponent,
about that
they both caught it. They were able to determine which the card was because he put them on the table, put it back on top. No harm, no foul. Like, it was a mistake. It was easy to catch. Both people were paying attention. It was no big deal.
I had a similar situation, but not more. He drew less. So he did his mulligan. This is SSG Ray. Shout out to him. Great game. It was awesome. He drew 6 of his initial cards, drew 7, mulled, and only got 6 back. And then we started the game, and he goes, oh, crap, I only have 6. And we just, kind of just discussed it amongst ourselves. I said, I'm going to cut your deck. You pull the top card off of the deck, and we'll go from there. Reshuffle your deck and let's go. I think that if you can handle the situation without a judge coming, that's like 100% best case scenario. And I know that's not going to always happen, but um, all I have to say on the spiel of things is pay attention to you and your opponent during your games. It's going to make the game cleaner for both you and your opponent. It'll assure that there will be no messiness within the gameplay. So try, all you players out here that want to be, decent players or striving to be, make these top cuts and stuff like that. Pay attention to you and your opponent, not just yourself. That's like what I want everyone to take away from this situation.
If you want to clean up your play and try to perform at the best level, I got 3 things you can do that can really help. Always make sure your opponent is shuffling your deck face down. That's the number one thing. Make sure they're not looking at your deck. I see a lot of players that don't watch people looking at the bottom of their deck and manipulating it. Make sure that you keep track on ink count and discard, and I mean how many cards they have in their hand. Always keep track of that. Easy to keep track with. Start of the turn, end of the turn, you can ask them. And then always make sure you cut your opponent's deck. And then a little specific here, make sure you cut it in different places so you're not predictable on where you're going to cut it.
Probably pick it up and shuffle it.
Yes. And then the last thing, this is the fourth, this is a special bonus. Announce all your phases, everything you do, all your triggers. And then if you do that, you might not have any problems.
I don't know how many times I said trigger workshop during this tournament, but it was probably more than like I breathed, honestly. It's you got to announce your triggers. You have to.
Yeah, I mean, I played against some blue steel players that did like the shortcut things where like they had workshop out and then like they would play a quill, but they would like tap 4 ink for it.
Yeah, and just draw. And just not even say a thing.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, like I know what's happening.
Yeah,
like
yeah. But it's mannerisms and it's etiquette of how you should play. You need to announce your damn triggers, and it only will help you in the long run keep track of your play also. So like,
and get rid of ink tokens.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, I've heard like a lot of back and forth about this. I heard like a lot of mistakes with it, really. Like,
Yeah.
like people are short ink that they're not supposed to be because they forgot to grab a token or something like that.
They allow it though.
Yeah, no, I just saw a lot of them. I mean, specifically, I saw the guy that top forward with the red purple. He was using like the little chips.
Yeah,
almost,
like the little domino chip looking thing.
Yeah. That was the first time I've seen those. I've seen people like use like another like a different sleeves card.
Right.
Like there's somebody using like Magic Lands as their ink this weekend, which I thought that was cool. I think the only issue is sometimes you might lose track of your ink, and if you're not double checking like that little stack that you have to the side, you could it could be an issue.
Yeah, for sure. But I think we can start. I don't know. Y'all want to talk a little bit about more cheating stuff or no?
There's a couple other things.
Yeah, go ahead.
Right. So there's all kinds of shuffle cheats. So you have to be aware of people shuffling. So always shuffle and cut, like Jordan said.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah.
yeah. Pay attention. Like when you're thinking and deep in the tank, you have to make sure you're not always looking away or closing your eyes, because that's the time where people are gonna, grab that card they left in their lap from the very beginning of the game, and switch it out, stuff like that. What else is there? Also obviously there's angle shooting and fast playing, and then there's the ethical questions, right? Like, if your opponent has a Diablo in play, exerted, and you draw for turn, right? Like, I know that you think it's one trigger, but that the Diablo is 2 triggers. It's on the draw it goes in, which both players are responsible for, and then out of the bag, only the Diablo controller is responsible for, right? Yeah. So you have to come to your own decision whether you're gonna how obvious or always gonna say point out the Diablo trigger to them or not, because that's a whole ethical dilemma there for sure with maintaining game state.
Yeah,
it is optional, right?
Yes,
It is
the
optional.
it is not optional to go into the bag. It is optional to come
Yeah.
out of the bag.
Correct. Yeah.
I
Right.
see. Okay. I
See,
got you. I got you.
so
Okay.
it's both players' responsibility to put it in the bag. It's
If you
only
want to
one player's
resolve the, I
it's
got
only
you.
one
If
player's responsibility to take it out of the bag.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, there was more I could probably think of, but at the moment I can't. So yeah.
I saw a lot of people this weekend like not tapping ink uh for their cards. Like
For
they just want
sure.
to play it out. I would
Come on,
definitely just
guys.
always double check people.
The permanent counts is another thing, right? So say you're on turn 7, you should know how many permanents the person should have, or total cards
like
between the
ink.
graveyard, their
Yeah.
ink, in play, in the hand. Like turn 7, it should be 14 cards or whatever, depending on their play draw.
Yeah.
Right. So you should be able to easily see that if they haven't drawn a card and be able to count like, oh, hey, then you can get them. That's when you can get them cheating. Like ask how many cards they have in hand, stuff like that. Call a judge. Like we're on turn 7. I think this also illustrates like how we need a note system, something in Lorcana, because like it's a lot easier to when you can write jot little things down, so you can see.
Yeah.
But
I think that just opens up a lot. I agree. There has to be something, and
yeah, I mean
but
it's all difficult.
yeah, because they're gonna say, well, they were writing down. I think it is important and part of the game to remember what you ink. A lot of the times, and that's if you start allowing like note taking, they're gonna say, well, they wrote down everything they inked and stuff, and I can see how that can become a problem in this game.
Have one form of cheating that is a lot of people are not going to probably somewhat agree with because it's barely slow play. I can't tell you how many times you get on the win and you playing against a team or a random person who knows I'm going to lose this match, so I'm just going to slow play you. It happened to the guy right above me. Like, it's happened to me a million times.
Me? What happened to me?
What occurred?
Oh, I know what
I quickly beat, I think it was my round 3 opponent. Game 1. It was clear as day he was gonna lose. He ended up taking an extra, like, I want to say 10 minutes just trying to stall out the loss, which players, when you know you're gonna lose and you're in a time restraint best of 3, you need to learn how to scoop and when to scoop. I know everyone feels that, oh, I got this, I'm going to turn it around. There's a certain point when your opponent has 14 cards in hand and you have 1 that you should know this is not going to go the way I think it's going to go. So I really encourage players to understand the gameplay and start scooping to encourage, maybe possibly you could have won that game 3. It wasn't going to happen in this situation. But I won the first match probably within the first 28 minutes. Okay. I then played him. He had all the perfect, bell turn 1, turn 2, Tipo, 4 with Freeba Scrooge and another bell, stormed my Scrooge, like just did the works. And I knew right then and there, I said, there's only a couple of cards that can get me back in this game. I'm going to see if I can draw them. If I don't, I'm going to scoop on turn 6 or 5. So on turn 6, I did not draw what I needed, which was another Hiram. And that was it. I scooped right then and there. I knew I could not outdraw his giant ass hand, and I knew that I wasn't going to be able to outplay it. I had 17 minutes left to finish a game 3. I played as fast as I could. It is very difficult to do the math with Blue Steel in the small amount of time that we had. I did get to the point to where I think we were on turn 8 or 9, I believe it was, where my field was, I think, a Bell, a Scrooge, a 6-drop Tomatoa, and a Smee. I was at 16 lore at this point. He was able to, within us going into turns, because it took that long for that board state to get to, so we were in turns at that board state. He was able to Zeus my crab, and then he was able to, I think he did some other removal. I think it was, he actually did play a Hades on like the Smee or something like that. So I didn't then quested, I think it was at 14. I quested out to 16, and I played the big Tomatoa. All right. He then I think he let it go on the big Tomoto, which then I also had like 12 cards in hand, and he had like 2 or 3. The following turn, I played big Tomoto. This was my final turn right here, and I was at 16 ink, and big Tomotoa, 16 lore, big Tomotoa, a Scrooge, and a Smee on field with his Hades. Okay, I lost in turns to that, and it was 16-0 in the lore count. I don't know what to say other than the guy intentionally knew he was going to lose, and he just stalled with his cards as long as possible, it felt, to the point to where he knew we were going to go into turns. And he also waited to pass to me at a certain time, I believe right before turns came in, so he would ultimately have the last turn also. So it was a bad taste in my mouth. It sucked. I don't want to really dwell on it too much, but I just want the community to know that like you need to learn when to scoop, because it really doesn't help this whole system of best of threes, which I think is the best format. We find out who a winner is, and at the end of the game, you feel more accomplished because there is a winner. So please, community, learn when to scoop, because it will only help you in the long run. Maybe it'll actually get you a 2-0 past your loss, or get you to that game that you know you can win. So that's all I have to take about it. I
We
did
need a
go,
chess clock.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, chess
You,
block.
you
I
got
mean,
to be
chess clock.
comfortable. You got to be comfortable calling a judge on someone. Like that's
Yeah.
I
that's
think a lot of
another
players
thing. Like
aren't gonna do because they feel uncomfortable because they think they're accusing someone of something. But like you have to be comfortable calling a judge to make sure the gameplay is fair, especially on slow play. Like you call the judge over, they'll come look and they'll sit for a minute to see how the play's going, then they leave. Maybe they'll watch the whole set. But you have to be comfortable calling a judge on slow play for sure.
I mean, it. What bothers me is all I needed was one turn. Like I didn't even need 5 minutes. I needed just one turn, and I know he didn't have the answer to the Tomoto. He just wasted his Hades and has let it go. So I just knew he had 2 cards in hand, and neither of them were gonna change the game for me getting the final swing for lore.
Right.
And one play should be a minimum of, I'd say, a minimum of 15 seconds, a maximum of 45, and I'll even go to 50 seconds a turn, guys. Like and in between those actions there should be a set limit between each action also. Kind of like the online client that we play right now a little bit, but I think it just needs to be implemented in the real game somehow, but I don't know if that's even going to be possible. So all I got to say is learn when to scoop. And it may sound like a mean thing to say, but it's really the only way that you might win the best of 3 if you know how to scoop and know when to.
Yeah. Yeah. Stalling's a problem in a lot of games. Coming from hero clicks, I mean you have a 45 50-minute timer in that game anyway. You're trying to get to 300 points as quickly as you can. That's usually the win condition. And you can have somebody sit there and think about their turn for 15 minutes, and it's actually kind of just normal, but it's really not. Like, it's rolling dice, it's playing cards. When you only have X amount in your hand, there really isn't that much to think about. Coming from somebody that has called a judge on a slow player, I hope that those things improve. They probably will. From having conversations with people, I definitely think that this conversation is getting louder and louder. That hey, we really want. I think it's probably best to just start calling it like the competitive rule set, right? I don't know if I agree with like a time clock or that kind of situation. Um, but if it does change, or even if it stays the same, I guess it really doesn't matter. If it's the 2 game format or best of 3, um, there could be a way to say, hey, you know what? Each game within the round should last X amount of time. And that could solve some things as well. I think that in itself might be able to stop slow playing. Like your first game is 20 minutes, game 2 is 20 minutes. Maybe it increases like each game is 20 minutes or something along those lines. It's a lot more to announce, a lot more to enforce, and I understand that.
Yeah.
But it at least moves the game along.
Along, yeah. It's a consideration. It definitely is
Yeah.
something that
Yeah.
lets
What else?
There, I'm not trying to like dog on blue players, but like my games ended very fast this weekend. Were the judges at all like walking around like towards the end of the rounds, like
I at
looking
at the end of so I went into time
like I'm saying before time was
oh
called.
yes. Yeah. Right around the 5 minute mark, they walked up and they were like, y'all got 5 minutes and then you're in turn. So they were
But
pretty
they
good.
didn't like sit and remain or anything though, right? They just like
Once time hit, if they saw people at tables, they walked up and stood like at the
yeah.
table and watched the turns happen, which I I I appreciate that. That's a great
It's like a little too late at that point, right?
Yeah.
exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. Like
Yeah.
I don't know if this rule could be implemented, but I believe that if your opponent can swing for win the next turn and you can't react to stop them, I think that it should go until that point. And if no one can reach the
And
max
you'd be like,
20,
oh, I was 2
it
turns
is a
away. And you
tie.
had to have this. Now it's
Yeah.
3 turns away. And
I mean,
I hear what
every
you're saying,
card
Jake.
game.
I'm saying
Yeah.
like I have game right here. You answer it, okay. You get your turn. I get to answer you, and if not, you win. Like stuff.
You
Maybe
kind of
I'm
just hope your opponent is like a gentleman at that point and like it just agrees to that. Because I mean I've definitely seen both sides of it, especially in other card games.
What I'll say is if you're too scared to call a judge for your opponent possibly slow playing, all you have to do, tell them, hey, I intend to finish this match. Do you want to? Or if you don't intend to finish the match, I'm gonna have to call a judge on you for slow playing. Just tell them you want to finish the match. If they don't want to either, then you're gonna call a judge. Because taking multiple turns when you know you're going into time is ridiculous.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from, and I think that's a good call because like it's kind of similar to what I'm saying. What I'm saying is like if you know you're gonna lose, it's time. It's time to give us our time that we deserve to continue the next game.
yeah, like I played Dick Burns round 7, I think. And you know, he scooped on turn 4 to me because he knew the game was over, and we went to the next one and we played, and it was fine. Like it was no freaking problem.
Yep.
There wasn't any, it was like, yep, this game's over. Like let's just go.
Yep. And I think
It
that
was
the
good.
more experienced players will know when to scoop and how, like, how to scoop. But I think that as people come into this game, especially non-TCG players, I think that's something that like they just don't get or don't want it.
Don't have
I
the
don't know if they
experience
want
of it.
it. Yeah, they just don't have experience of how it happens.
Losing. Of losing. I think there's a big part of learning how to lose as well, and just realizing when you've lost something.
For sure.
Uh, that
Knowing when to scoop in this game is also more difficult than any other game I played because every card is an action. Like
yeah,
it's all
Yeah.
gas.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
So I mean,
there's
it's a
definitely
learning
been-
process.
I am definitely guilty of that because I played cards like a whole new world.
Yeah.
I can just
yeah,
like
exactly. Well, I mean, like,
suddenly like
There's still a chance.
yeah,
yeah.
like all of a sudden, like, well, I need to draw a be prepared, and it's in my hand all of a sudden.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but
Like
if
we
you
say,
just
it's a
play
very
like,
difficult skill.
yeah, but
Yeah.
if you just play like Pete, and I have to get a be prepared to continue this game, let's just pick up and move on,
Yeah,
folks. Like,
yeah,
you
yeah.
have to understand that, right?
Yeah.
You're not.
You got to play to your outs.
Yeah, exactly. And
People
if you
gotta
don't
realize what
have it
they
immediately,
have.
don't think because that is a time thing. And look, you can talk to your opponents during the game. I definitely at a DLC, before have asked like, do you have like before I even like try to do this? I can't. You know what cards I'm playing? I'm playing red purple at this point. I'm not going to be able to manipulate your hand. Do you have the dime and Tamato in your hand? If you show them to me, we're just going on. I'll just ask because I mean I can't come back from this. I'm like, all right, and we just move. And I think it's just important to know that like it's okay to lose because just dragging it out or impacting your opponent's experience isn't great. Like that's a big problem. And you know, hurting someone's chances to advance isn't good sportsmanship as well because you're like upset. If you don't have a chance to keep going forward because you've already like lost it, that tie is not going to help. The 2-game format is not going to help you either way. That game 2 win is not enough of a tiebreaker to matter. In like probably 90 out of 100 cases. Okay. So yeah, there's a few things. I don't know if it's that. I mean, I know what happened to you, Jake, and I get it. I mean, it's happened to me. I don't know if it's like a rampant thing, but at the same time, we're all kind of like, all right, I know I lost this. I'm just gonna move on. I think we're experienced with it enough. But running into that player that doesn't know that, I can see that being an issue. But again, don't be afraid to call a judge. Just do it.
Yeah. Yep, you're right. All right, looks like we just lost Hector.
I'm back.
Now you're back.
My wife texted me that there's a spider in the kitchen.
But I think we can, if you guys want to talk about the top 8, we can. We can just go through it really quick and kind of talk about what we saw. And
Taylor, did you write down Jordan's prediction like you said you did?
It's pretty.
we
It's
were
not bad.
all wrong last week.
I'm pretty
I don't-
close.
Did anyone say blue red?
I said 2 blue red. There's
You
4.
said 2. There was 4, 5,
That's-
5. No, 4.
That's more than everyone else. Everyone else said no blue red.
Me and Taylor were closer than everybody else. So I'm saying there's a Diablo deck. There's a Diablo deck top 4. I'm just saying.
I said Diablo deck. I said Diablo deck was winning.
All right,
When we get there.
let's start with number 8. Actually, let's start with 8.
1 ours. Maybe 4. No.
Well, we can start with
16,
15th, right, Hector? We can start with 15th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The highest.
Are
the
you
highest
on
that?
ever steal.
Your spicy is only at 51%. It could have been higher just due to outside
I'm pretty sure
circumstances.
the only spiciness is,
You had to
is
put
the
one
card that got
food
me in
in
trouble.
just for fun.
Yeah, it probably was. Yeah, the bare
All right.
necessities was
whole-
the spiciest part.
Go ahead,
A
Hector.
whole new 8.
Explain your list a little bit and what really shined for you in this list and helped you get through all these blue decks. Really.
Yeah. So I like exclusively play tested against blue steel this week. I prayed to God I didn't play against blue red. And I had to play it in my winning end. So it is what it is. Yeah, the big thing that this deck wants to do against blue steel, play Daisy turn 1 and then play a Singer on turn 2, which is either Troubadour or the Vanessa Ursula. And it makes the game super awkward for them. If they in my last round game 3 versus blue steel, it was like a playbook play of football. Like I went Daisy, he went Bell, I went Troubadour, he went play another popsicle, play another Bell. I sang Bare Necessity to rip the quill out of his hand, and then I played a Gaston. And I saw that there was a Pete in his hand. I had a Pete in my hand. He played his Pete, I played my Pete, and then the game was basically over because I just played a whole new world, and then he didn't
He
have
was
anything.
same ink as you and everything.
Yeah, which is a terrible spot for blue to be in.
Yeah, for sure. But I like the Bianca. How did the Bianca do for you?
Yeah, so MVP cards were definitely Bianca was awesome, except for against blue red. Honestly, Bare Necessities overperformed this weekend. I mean ripping out just songs,
Zoos.
items. Zoo. Those are just really crucial. Also, just after you play a whole new world, being able to look at your opponent's hand and seeing what they do have and knowing what your lines of play after are at that point, it's humongous.
Yeah. All right. Well, great job, dude. That's all I gotta say. Great run. Steel Song.
Appreciate it.
Steel
Yeah.
Song's back, man.
Awesome.
Steel Song's back. All right. Are we starting? This is the number 8th.
Yep, that's 8.
8th. All right. What do y'all want to say? Is this the purple steel deck? What do y'all want
super
to say?
standard purple steel deck. It's hyper consistent. It did exactly what it was supposed to do.
He
It's
must
a Diablo
have seen,
deck.
a lot of purple steel and not a lot of red blue.
I think this deck actually beats red blue pretty well.
Does it?
I mean, like, yeah. I mean, just generally looking at like the stats of these. I know he lost in top 8 to the purple red guy.
Okay.
Uh, but I think this is like a really good deck, honestly, versus the red blue because like you play Benja that takes out their
You just
coils.
recycle it.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you can just bounce them back if they play more coils. It's like really annoying for them. Uh, so like I think that's like really, really good. And then all your characters are like super well statted.
Yeah, there's a ton of characters that work now with purple steel and I mean they worked before. They're not old characters. The only new character here is the Cobra. And bouncing any of those things is great. I mean, bouncing your Pete to replay, bouncing Cobra to replay, bouncing Goat for lore, bouncing White Rose, bounce. I mean, it doesn't matter. Bounce Doc for draw. I mean, just whatever. It works really, really well. This is the best that it has been. I think it's also like the right call on the number of Benjas, the number of White Roses, and the number of Calhouns. Um, I just think it's real solid all around. He's probably wishing that he had gone one more Benja. I think I saw that top 8 matchup.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. One more Calhoun. Yeah, yeah, sorry. Instead, but I mean, at the same time, who would have thought that the fairy red purple deck would have been there? I mean, that was the fairy ship thing was wild. I mean, Terrace Black had been working on it for a while. A lot of people are trying to mimic it. It's good because it just survives a lot against a lot of stuff.
It looks really consistent, and its
Yeah.
draw power with Doc and Genie just
Real
very
good.
powerhouse cards that help.
Also, your one drops. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, plus your
Mhm.
one drops. Yeah.
It was a smart call to do the genies over the rabbits as well. Just genie survives a little bit longer, right? So all good. Yeah, I like it a lot.
Genie's so good in the blue steel too.
Very.
Wasting a Zeus on that thing just feels so bad. Like
Yeah.
I hate it.
What?
Because like typically they're not going to bounce the card. They're just going to let it sit there
No.
and gain 2 lore every turn and be a
Get
singer.
your card and
like a
get the
3
lore.
singer.
Yep.
So
I do think this deck going in the future probably does play Rabbit if red blue does become the more
Yes.
popular blue deck.
Yeah. If red blue takes off, rabbit's going to be just back in purple anything, and they'll probably just replace the genie like you're saying. Yeah, I agree.
All right, let's take a look at number 7, who is my. Oh wait, no, yeah, this is the Mind
Irish Willie.
Woo!
Hey, this guy
This is a
played in
spicy
Vegas, I
one.
think.
I think that this list is crazy. Mind Train. I thought about this, but I didn't think it was going to be enough initial damage to take care of things. But he played the Happy, which I never, not once was I like, let's play Happy. There's just so many other better 1-drops that I would rather play, like Mulan or Sticky Mickey and stuff like that. But I guess with the Mind Train, it really does help with the damage and getting rid of your opponent's like cards and stuff like that. So it's just a typical blue steel list. People put Baymax in back end, which I think is a really good, probably a really good card in this format, keeping Pluto alive. Also, a lot of people are swinging into Pluto and just leaving damage on him, or swinging with your Lawrence and healing your Lawrence and stuff like that. It's really, really good plays. Jimmy, you played something similar to this. What do you think about this list?
I like it from just the top view. Like I haven't played it, so I couldn't really give too much about it. But like it seems, like the Baymaxes are a good call in this deck. The Biancas are a good call in this deck. This is kind of similar to what Artifax is playing in the LCCCCCCCCC.
So many C's.
Because I know I'm pretty sure he was playing the Baymax Cogsworth line, which I like.
Yeah.
I didn't think about it. I think it's a good thing to explore.
It looks like Irish really draws a bunch of cards with this deck. Probably just draws a lot of cards.
Yeah, maybe an extra one here or there too.
Yeah. what I noticed in this deck, it's not running Hiram at all, right? No, I don't.
No, it doesn't need
I
it.
don't have my glasses, but I don't see a Hiram there. His card draw must.
Just be
It's
dock and not
dock.
items.
It's
I
off
just
the dock. It's off to let the storm rage on. It's
yeah
off the 8 items.
yeah. It's
Am I missing something?
I
No.
guess that was enough to get him to where he needed, to win. Which huge congrats. This is a very odd deck and a very odd combination of good cards put together in a blue steel Kiwi bird style deck.
I mean, this is a please don't play blue red deck for sure.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um.
Which brings us to our next list.
Is it James?
Yeah.
Yeah. Look at all them dragons. Why did they put dragons back in this damn deck?
Mirror
I
match.
hate
Mirror
this.
match.
I
He's not playing B prep.
Yeah,
He's
Or
not
Coil
playing
Force
B
seems
prep.
to.
No B prep. One Great Stone Dragon, which is always the right call because that card, when it goes off pretty well.
Yeah, I will say it does.
Yeah. I like the list. Cusco came back in, just really, really good. Everyone should remember that Cusco has another ability that can give people resist. That's a good thing to remember.
It could be helpful in the blue steel matchups, and
real
I know
good
that
if you just
Absolutely.
remember the trigger. But yeah,
I mean it
Very
looks like
did well.
a
Good.
standard-ish blue steel.
Yeah.
I mean blue red.
It's Sisu on coil. That's what it is now.
Yeah.
I mean, three
Yeah.
Maleficents is kind of new. They weren't really running those for a while. Putting the dragons back in.
Yeah, I played against a red blue guy that played a dragon on me, and I was like, really, wow. But yeah, I was like, you had room in there for that. But yeah, it's coming back. I think it's a good call. I don't see them really needing B prep if they can control the board all the way through with coils. Congrats to this dude with the 2 Cusco. I think that's a really good call, especially in the mirrors and versus the blue steel. But it's
Yeah.
just a typical red blue deck who got some guy was like, I don't need that B prep. I'm out of here. Like I'm doing it. So congrats to this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they put the Cusco and the Dragon in just because to respect blue steel, so that if they get peated, they don't just like auto lose.
This
Right.
is Jonathan Lamb's deck right here. I don't even have to look at the name because I know it's him because this deck is wild. This
got
deck
everything.
is wild.
This guy
Like,
stresses me out.
It's got
Um,
every
It's so good.
yeah,
It looks
it's
like
got
he's the
every
only-
blue card
How many
that does
lines of
something
cards are?
wonderful.
he's
Yeah.
got answers to everything.
Yep.
But I don't know how he sees them when he needs them.
I
There's
don't
so
recommend-
less of them.
I don't recommend an average blue steel player to pick up this deck.
That is
No. Like,
I don't recommend
I-
any blue steel player to pick up this deck
Yeah.
except for Jonathan Lamb.
Unless you're him. That's right. Yep.
yeah, Jonathan Lamb is I'll just say he's a genius. He's a genius. And when it comes to blue steel, I don't think there's even a measurement close to any
Three
of the
bells.
players in this game towards him. If he played an actually good deck, he'd probably be like
God, no.
DKP status.
This is a
yeah, I
good
mean-
deck.
Check
It's
out the
true.
3
He
bells.
threw everything in there. I mean,
3
Jonathan
bells.
won
3
the
bells.
It looks like a blue steel gumbo right now.
yeah.
Like-
Chapter
like,
1 belt. 1
Yeah, I mean-
Ariel. 1 Arthur.
Who
He
1
knows
bells?
grab your
what he-
sword.
right. He knows what he needs against what matchup.
Yeah.
So like the altar is so important, and knowing what to ink and what not to ink. Like he just has that ability, right? He, like only running 7 1-drop items with the 3 bells. Like I don't know how much playtesting he does, but he has to. He either is a genius who doesn't playtest at all, or he puts in hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of hours.
actually played his one of I don't know if it was his like actual training partner, but I saw them leaving together. I think it's one of his buddies. He was on red blue, and I did get a game both games on him pretty well, and he was not happy about it. He did not expect to lose to blue steel, so obviously he must play blue red a lot with this, knowing that he can win with this. What did he lose to in the top 8? I think he lost to a red.
He
blue.
lost to Hector. Yeah, he lost to
Yep.
the eventual winner.
The eventual champion. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I will say, I think this is also just like a really good like closed deckless deck, because if you like a whole new world, like a Hades and an Arthur and like Twin Fires away, your opponent's probably gonna be like, oh crap, how many of these does this guy play? And
Right.
like your opponent now has to kind of play awkward and stuff.
yeah,
That's fair. Yeah.
Very good point. Very good point.
Yeah. Yeah.
a great list. Odd list, but great list.
Skip, veto.
Nope, 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 nope. You know that ain't happening. I'm driving. We definitely looking.
Don't you at the bottom. Take it away.
Yeah, I'm not gonna even say anything about this stuff.
That's what I'm gonna say.
It did
Back.
well. Lots of conversation about it. I'm surprised to see it here. I'm surprised to see it because it only was running 6 locations.
I was
It
running
would
10,
have-
10,
Fire
10,
normal?
10.
Wait, there
No,
wasn't.
there's running.
Okay.
There's running. There's running
Yeah.
10.
I thought there was more when we were talking about it. Okay, I was like, oh, library. I keep forgetting that we have to scroll down. Largest mistake out of this one, probably just needed to run 4 rabbits. The 2-2 split's not enough. But I mean, it's a top 4 finish. It was a great run. I'm really happy that the color scheme made it. A lot of people are trying to mimic this and go off of things right now. I've seen a ton of variations of it since Saturday, including RLS instead of like Dragon Fires and just all of these things to give different everything to everyone. I think the better version, I think this is one version. I think there's the withstand damage version, and then I think there's your just burn, like straight burn version. This obviously is a variant of burn, but just your normal bounce version, you got to pick something. I think red purple right now is just in a super awkward spot. You got to pick one of them, depending on your local meta. This worked. Zeke is who played this deck. Taris Black really got it together 2 weeks ago, I think it was, or so. Whenever the set first came out, yeah, about 2 weeks, I guess. And I think it overperformed, but it was a great job. I mean, just good job laying down the location when you needed to. Great, he pulled the beat preps when you needed to a lot when he was on stream, and leaving the locations there with very few cards in hand for your opponent was a good job. I'm not playing it though.
Man, I'm gonna take a little stab. I wish I would have had a free win.
I wish I would have played this too.
I was praying to see this color scheme the whole day. I saw nothing but red blue, but I still did pretty well. But this is a very interesting deck. I really like that red purple made it in. 2 Dragonfire, very odd. Like you said, the draw package really weak in this deck. Maybe he's planning on just eking out those last couple of lore with the locations or something like that. I don't think he planned on going farther than a certain point or a certain turn with this deck. And if he did, he would have had to multiple B preps to with the location.
Yeah, better locations on board and B prep to just hold everyone at bay. It's really the win condition late game with this deck.
Yeah, like the old style. Honestly, set 3.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Turn 8, you slap the 2. What is it? Not library, but the
Castles.
other
Castles, yeah.
castle. Yeah, 2 castles down, and you just say, "You lose, opponent. I don't care." So big grats to this guy. I really appreciate this dude for trusting his color base and really showing it out. So great job.
Keep cutting brawls.
Do not cut, bro.
Yeah,
Didn't
I mean,
you
I
say
would
it-
agree with that if someone would have brought some Diablos.
Yeah. Well, I thought you were playing it when I saw that you didn't.
Well, I
was
mean,
like,
I was going to play it, but
Bro.
then again, someone forgot the Diablos at home.
oh,
I wonder who that could be.
the scandal
Freaking
continues.
asshole.
Yeah.
Then-
Uh-huh.
Hey,
So I had to play some Blue Steel.
Yeah, you did.
It went
What,
okay.
you got
Jimmy, he was scared he was gonna meet up with you. That's why he did it.
There
It's
was
true.
no one. There was none at the store.
Foils and
they had
enchanted.
There was like
Enchanted.
a couple enchanted, but like even still, like there weren't many of the vendors selling Lorcana cards. There are a lot of
Yeah.
Pokemon cards though.
Yeah.
But I mean, I could have like ran around asking players for trade or whatever. But I wasn't doing that. I just
Yeah,
had to fill out
I get
the
it.
deck list. Just
He played Kiwi Birds. He did
I
really
played Kiwi
well.
Birds.
And he would have lost majorly with Yellow Green.
No,
No shot.
Yeah,
No
That's
shot.
just
Jimmy was
no,
good.
no,
some
he wouldn't
questionable
have.
green
I
yellow
disagree with
plays.
that. I disagree with that. I think he would have. Right, I was edging out wins against Sapphire Steel with a purple red deck. Jimmy would have slaughtered with green yellow. I'm gonna stand by him. I'm sorry. Like I
real
just feel
deck.
like if I don't think I saw a green yellow deck the entire time I was there, walking around watching people play.
Ghosty was playing the discard.
He was,
Yellow
yeah.
Green.
No, he was playing.
No,
He was
he's
playing
playing
He was
aggro.
playing-
the aggro.
I was
Sure,
playing the
dog.
aggro version.
Just being joking around, but
I saw the one lady in the tramp version, my
Yeah,
first
that was-
game, and I
was
dog walked
Ghosty.
it quite literally. It stayed true to its name.
all right, let's take a look at this red blue. This looks like your standard list.
Mhm.
It's got the sharks in it, and it has a lot of action. So there's not too much spice with this list. It's pretty standard here. It's running Vitalosphere for the recursion of the crabs, more items. I think most red blue is running the Vitalosphere. If they're running the crabs, it really helps with that Maui Shark rush play that no one ever expects until it's right in front of your face, anyways. But yeah, pretty standard list. You probably saw a lot of red, blue, and a lot of lower number amber steels and stuff like that. I don't. Do y'all see any spice in this deck? Do y'all? Is it? It looks pretty standard to me.
Standard,
Yeah.
but consistent.
Maybe just like the inclusion of Medusa again.
I mean,
I know some
I've
of the
been
red
seeing a
blues
lot
got
of
away
that.
with it.
yeah,
Mhm.
Medusa's here to stay in this deck with Coil being the target for
Correct.
the
Mhm.
crab. It's I mean, Brawl and Medusa can take care of the Tomatoa 6-drop, which is just insane, and then like a Medusa can take care of big Tomatoa with a Coil, and it's just it feels bad now. It feels bad, man. But the deck is actually doing very well in this format. I did not expect it to. Everyone said it was going to kind of dwindle out, but the U.S. always surprises us. I feel like the U.S. NA really loves this deck and really wants it to prosper. So we're going to see a lot of big players push this deck, and it's here to stay. As much as we don't want it or do want it, this deck is going nowhere. And I think we can look at the next three of the same similar deck. Oh man, is this who? What's this guy's name?
Logan.
But
Is that
it was
the guy that I lost to? No, it can't be.
He was from World Class Cards.
He was what?
He was on World Class Cards, like the team.
Oh, okay. No, this was not Logan from Maelstrom. Okay. Yes, this is spicy. Look at those Scrooges. This is the type of list that I think I was going to try and build. The Scrooge free cheat out is extremely good. They're playing 1 ice block. They're playing 3 Vitalosphere, 4 coil, and even 2 fishbone. This is an items blue-red deck, and this looks very interesting to me.
There's a big problem with items blue red, especially with no be prepared. You saw Hector take advantage of it in the finals. You can just spam out the board, go wide. No be
Yeah.
prepared, open deckless, you're going down.
Yeah. It's I really like the items version. I think he did really well because it because he was running a little bit different. 1 ice block, I really like that. That's a really risky uninkable to run in this deck of uninkables that you have to run. There's so many with Sisus and dimes and ice blocks and all that stuff. It seems like his uninkable count is fairly low, but Scrooge in these decks was something that people did not expect to see because they didn't think there was enough items for him to be able to cheat out or for him to hit when he does search. Um,
Yeah,
I
going up
think,
to the 17 items to be able to play Scrooge over the Tala to get that extra one strength and willpower.
yeah,
I think it's a good call.
yeah. Scrooge is a really good card in my opinion. So I really he won me so many games in the CCS. So he's a really good card. And then we have the winner of the tournament, Hector from SSG. Great player. Um, just annihilated pretty much all
Me,
his opponents.
me, yeah, two of
Yeah.
me.
It looks like a very standard list other than Maui Shark up at the 4 count. That's very I don't know if that's new or if that's the new thing for him or how he likes to play his style, but I know most of the red blue players were actually down to 3 and some even 2 with this list. What do you guys think that this list is it? This is the best it's going to get here?
I think there's answers for it. I think that once something tops, all of a sudden, you see like way better stuff, right? Now there's all of a sudden going to be, red purple's, everyone's going to play this, and all of a sudden red purple's going to throw out Forge Remain again and go kind of like what Ed did at Continentals, and then you're just hoping that the coil doesn't go off, and
Yeah.
or purple steel with Benjas are getting rid of coils instead of because there's no dime in this list, right?
Right.
So it's just this is the control version of it all. It's great. I think it's like really, really good. It obviously did really, really well. So kudos to him. I mean, just good list, did well. Can't complain.
Yeah. It looks super consistent, honestly. The uninkable count's not that high, and there's not many big numbered cards like Tomatoa and stuff also in it, so there's less chance to have unplayable cards in your hand, especially with this deck being able to ramp to, 4 and 5 ink on turn 3 and 4 and stuff like that. So I think he did a really great job. He probably saw most of the decks he wanted to play against, and he, drew the cards he needed, and that's really all in all reality. If you can draw your best hands and see your good opponents, you do well in these tournaments, especially if you know your deck really well. I think that's the last list we have tonight.
It is, yeah.
I think we can pretty much end it here. I mean, we could talk a little bit about our experience if we want at the CCS, but eh, eh. I did okay. Jimmy did okay. We made under top 30, right? Top 30. Where were you at, Jimmy?
No, I was 50th. I had the worst tiebreakers, and then I lost the last round of Purple Steel.
Yeah.
Yeah, my weekend was Diablo-less and Alice full.
Damn.
Hey, I mean,
Cold blooded.
you had a good time though, didn't you?
Yeah, it was a great time.
Yeah, I went 6-2-1. We spoke about that one. 4 of my wins were red blue. My list felt extremely well into red blue, especially the more Maui style list. I lost to Amber Steel John Silver location that quested for freaking 12 in one turn. I missed Bell both games, so there was no way. I just blew like that guy blew me out of the water. That was round 2. And then my other loss was to Logan from Maelstrom, who played red blue, and I think the first game he can even attest to this. I drew 26 or 28 cards. It was one of the two, and I didn't see one sphere or popsicle. I had all 4 Hirams in hand. I think I even played 2 Scrooges to try to find them. Could not find popsicles or anything. So I ended up scooping early on that game, and then the last game he had just every answer. Really, really good player. Just every answer. I could not keep a Hiram on the board. He annihilated my 6-drop crab with Medusa and Coil. Couldn't find the binges to get rid of it or the hideaways. So I mean, he had the game in the bag. Game 2. But Yeah, I ended up at 28th place with Blue Steel, which I surprised myself a little bit. I did try pretty hard this set in practice wise. I practiced as much as I could, and I think it paid off a good bit. I really felt comfortable with most of the matchups that I played. But
I had 4 games of practice against your blue steel deck. That was it.
Dave, we don't want to talk about your experience. We're not here to talk about your experience.
I mean, I was happy with my performance, even though I only went X3. I lost every die roll except for the very last one, and I lost that match. So, going 5-2 day 1 with losing 7 dice rolls, I was happy with that.
That's
From a
not
deck
bad
I
at all,
hadn't
but-
played.
No, I really think you did really well. Robbie, how'd you do? And
Man,
you
I
even
did
played in the
terrible
side
in
event too.
I did really good in the side event. I finished pretty high in the side event. Ended up losing. I mean, everybody knows I was like 5-0 and sat at the wrong fucking table. The sixth game. I didn't know if y'all knew that. Yeah, I was 5-0, sat
didn't.
down, and this fucking kid goes, Robbie, and I'm like, yeah, Chris, and he's like, yeah, and I'm like, all right, cool. Like, I don't double check my thing. Like, I don't. It's my own fault, right? Like, it's my fault alone. Because I had played his dad earlier, not knowing, talked to his dad in front of him again, not knowing that was his dad and that was the son, shook the guy's name, Robbie, blah, 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 move on, sit down by this kid thinking it's 41, 47. Like I literally, it was like 71 or 74. I was supposed to be at 71. I sat at 74. I don't remember the whole details. Kid says my name, and I'm thinking, God damn, this kid's like 5-0. Like good for him. And then he's playing red blue, so I'm like, yeah, it's possible, right? Like it's definitely possible. And as I'm playing this kid, I'm like, there's no way. Like there's something like he has to either A, not be drawing well, or B, like he just got the best possible matchups. And I played the first game, and I have a habit of after the first win or loss, I always go put it on my phone. And I went to click, and it showed me loss 0-2 dropped, and it dawned on me. I looked at the table number, and I was sitting at the wrong table. So I was doing real well, and then instantly did like shit. The judges were still like, we don't even know where his opponent's at, because like now the kid technically got a 2-0 win, and I took a 2-0 loss because I sat there and played the kid. But it hurt. Yeah, they reversed the drop. But the loss, the 2-0 loss was like, I did the math of everything real fast. And even I would have had to 2-0, and I 2-1 my very next match. So I was like, I'm already like, now I'm 6-1. I was like, I'm not even playing the last match, and I finished like 6-2 because there was no point. Like without 2-0ing, because I took a 0-2 and I had 2-1 a bunch of matches. And a bunch of other guys had 2-0, 2-0, 2-0, 2-0. I had to tie math because I had met a few of the Turnabout Crusher guys out there who knew the math to a T. Like those dudes were like phenomenal and taught me some tricks. And then a few of the SSG guys. I met Kyle from SSG. He was my second match, Sapphire Steel. We went the distance, and it was the most fun match I had was the match I lost to Kyle. Like it was like we went back and forth the entire game. Because he always he didn't realize until the third game that I had no bounce in my purple red deck. So by the time he realized it, he was able to I was able to sneak a game out of him. By doing, I went double libraries on 6, be prepared on 7, double castles. And he was like, fuck you. Like he's like, how'd you have this in your hand? I was like, dude, I don't know. So I did the quick math that they taught me from talking about just kind of having conversations with everybody. And I was like, looking at everybody else's, I was like, I absolutely have to 2-0, 2-0. And then when I went to my next match and 2-1, I was like, 0 chance. Sure enough, I ended up finishing 22nd or something like that. So I was just like, I'm it's my fault. I should definitely double check because I could have made top 8. If I would have won that match, obviously.
Yeah.
But the way I was playing, I mean, like it was like I felt like I couldn't be beat. Like I was rolling. Like there was like, but I sat at the wrong table. I even said I'm not playing main events no more because everybody's tired. But come the side event, and I'm just gonna play the side event when everybody's tired.
Yeah. Yep. All right.
done.
Well,
I wasn't there, so my experience was watching my daughter in competitive dancing. So
Nice.
that was it. That was,
Nice.
Sounds
and
like a
then
better
watching
time.
Screens. Maybe. I don't know. I was like, but yeah.
But yeah, I think that's about all we have for tonight. I think that was a great episode. I really hope that you all enjoy watching it. We might have rambled about a lot of stuff, but we covered the points that we wanted to cover, and we hope that everyone takes this a little serious with has a little takeaway for this episode. At least you can learn something, or just at least yeah.
Double check the cards
Hector,
you pack,
Hector will
Count
say,
the
make sure
cards.
you count your cards.
especially the ones you pack.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Oh.
we appreciate all the support.
Put it in the bag.
We appreciate all your support, guys, and we'll have our socials at the end of this. Follow us on Facebook, follow us on YouTube, Team Snuggly Duckling. We have a Discord. We'd like everyone to join. It's free to join. There's a lot of good players in there, and we're always there to chat. We always want to get better with everyone in this community, and we don't want to exclude anyone from Team Snuggly Duckling. So if you're interested, just join our Discord, or just subscribe to our YouTube page, all that stuff. So we appreciate y'all watching, and till next time, we'll have another crazy episode like always. So y'all have a good one, and good night.
Great.
Peace.
Thanks. Take care.
Peace.
Under the beams, where the shadows dance, a tankard of ale in each eager hand's chance. The snuggly duckling, a haven so bright, with laughter and cards under candlelight. Shuffle the deck, let the fortunes unfold. In the snuggly duckling, their stories retold, with kings and queens and a jokester's cheer. This merry old pub will always hold dear. With a glimmering eye, bet their last coin as the moments fly. The jester hums tunes, the wench taps her toes, a world full of mischief where anything goes. Shuffle the deck, let the fortunes unfold. In the snuggly duckling, their stories retold, with kings and queens and a jokester's cheer. This merry old pub will always hold dear. Rogues and knights with a glimmering eye, bet their last coin as the moments fly. The jester hums tunes, the wench taps her toes, a world full of mischief where anything goes. Shuffle the deck, let the fortunes unfold. In the snuggly duckling, their stories retold, with kings and queens and a jokester's cheer. This merry old pub will always hold dear. Pass me the cards and a swig of your brew. Aces to dragons, we're breaking through. The firelight flickers, the stakes run high. This game of the daring neath the darkened sky. The snuggly duckling, where whispers converge, tales of old glories and heroes emerge. The cards hold their secrets, your destiny's fate. A knave could be royal if